Ah, 2nd October, Gandhi Jayanti, national holiday, and that too, it's come on a Saturday. So, those who work 6 days a week and work on Saturdays, they've got an extra day off. So, Saturday, Sunday, 2 days off. Come, let's enjoy ourselves. Let's make the most of this weekend. What is this thing called Gandhi Jayanti, and why is it so important that a national holiday is declared? Nobody can keep their offices, factories open. It is supposed to be like, we have Republic Day and we have Independence Day. The same way, this is treated on par with that. So, what is the significance of it? Is what has always been there right from my early years when I was a student. Since that time, when we used to hear these stories about Gandhiji and all, I was very intrigued with it. But the thing that I found was that while we put up, Mahatma Gandhi on a pedestal and we said he's father of the nation and all, somewhere along the line, did we ever take the trouble to understand him as a human being? So I said, okay, this time, since our Saturday is coming on on 2nd October, Gandhi Jayanti, I am going to dedicate this particular Saturday to the talking about Gandhiji and his relevance. Immediately, the thought that came to mind was how many people would really be interested? There are so many nice topics. We keep talking about all these, you know, emotions and relationships and things which we think are directly connected to us. They affect our lives. So that's why we have a huge gathering of people who either take out time on Saturday 11 to 12 and join us and have a nice interactive session, or the much more higher number of people who keep this as an important thing, and if they are not free on 11 to 12 on Saturday, they catch up later and they watch the thing and they learn a lot. I keep getting a lot of very nice and very, what do you say, heartwarming feedback that I get from people. Now today we are talking about Gandhiji and his relevance. So somewhere along the line, yeah, I can always read about it somewhere. I can Google Gandhiji and find out. And what's so great about it? Now that I have this long weekend and a good holiday, let me make the best use of it. So, given that, as a general way of thinking, I heartily congratulate those of you who have actually logged in today. I didn't even expect so many people to come in. So, a very warm, very hearty welcome to you. And I'm assuring you that your hour will not go waste. We will talk about certain things which directly connect and touch you. I'm not going to give a sermon on what Gandhiji was and how great he was and how he fought for the nation and got us independence. That we all know. But there is something much deeper. This is one gentleman about whom I have always been fascinated, as I told you, as a child. And the time came when I read a book written by him called My Experiments with Truth. Now, this book, if you buy it today, My Experiments with Truth, as you can see, right on top it says an autobiography. And then it says, or the story of my experiments with truth. What do you mean by or? It's very interesting. When Gandhiji wrote this, he did not call it an autobiography. He only called it the story of my experiments with truth. You know why that happened? There was a time when Gandhiji became very popular. People started referring to him as Mahatma. And they said that what an amazing person, what great teachings, what a great leadership. And so people started telling him, please write your autobiography. We'd like to understand your entire life through your own perspective. Gandhi said, okay, if it's going to help people, let me write. Now, Gokhale was like a mentor or a guru to Gandhiji. He went to Gokhale and told very happily that I'm planning to write my autobiography. Gokhale is supposed to have told him, do not write your autobiography as long as you are alive. Huh? Then when do I write? He explained. He said life is always dynamic. Like Surekha has put in, Gandhiji did not fight, he did not flee. He came up with a third alternative and earned us independence. Okay. She's asking me, what third alternative would you recommend for us to achieve emotional independence? Yes, we'll discuss that. Okay. Now, going back to Gandhiji, he wrote this book initially, My Experiments with Truth. Just reflect on the title itself. He did not say how I found truth. He did not say this is what is truth or this is what is the ideal living or something. He just said my experiments with truth. What does that mean? Every experiment starts off with a question mark. At the end of the experiment, what will be the outcome? What will be the result? That's why we call it an experiment. So, what did Gandhiji do? He experimented with truth. And that's what he wrote down. Much later, they converted that and they said it is his autobiography. There's something very interesting about this. The publishers of Gandhiji's things, this thing, they offer you this book, as you can see, for 50 rupees. Okay. Now, this book is so heavy that even if you buy it and give it to the Raddiwala, he'll probably give you more than 50 rupees for it. Today, when every book costs 500 or 1000 rupees, here is a book available to us for 50 rupees. And it is a bestseller. I'm told it sells in more than 100 countries. In many countries, it sells number of copies. Among the top selling countries where this book sells, India is not one of them. Why? Because we take him for granted. We read what others tell about him, but we don't read what he tells about himself. That is what I am going to use as my theme today to help you understand. And it will lead on to what Surekha said. What would we recommend for us to achieve emotional independence? Okay. Now, what Gandhiji did right from his beginning was he was experimenting with truth. Is this correct or is that correct? And if you read his book or even his other writings or his sermons or his talks, is something very interesting. You will find that he never shied away from truth. He never shied away from putting himself down. He never shied away from admitting mistakes. Today, we live in an era where any big shot, any politician, any celebrity is supposed to be ideal. How much we are fighting over historical figures. There were historical figures who were great, but they had plus points and they had minus points. But no, we want to put them up on a pedestal and say this man can do no mistake. This man was great. He was this. He was that. And then the controversy starts. Somebody else says, no, he was not like that. He was like this. Why can't we accept it that every human being, even a human being whom we give a label of Mahatma, always has his ups and downs, his good qualities, his bad qualities. But one difference was that Gandhiji at every stage admitted his mistakes, his shortages, his wrong characteristics. I think that is the first step to achieve emotional independence. I am not bound or constricted by having to show that I am great, I am this, I am that. I don't have to live up to a particular image. Today, when we talk so much about gender equality, can you believe that Gandhiji in his book wrote about how he used to be violent with his wife, he used to beat her up? And at the same time, he says, I don't know why she tolerated me and still continued to love me. How many people today are willing to admit something like that? That is the difference. Yes, everybody makes mistakes. Somebody has a short temper. He takes out that short temper on his wife. But to publicly acknowledge and say, this is what I've done. Same thing with his children. You're aware that his children literally became delinquents. Haridas, his eldest Son got himself into so many problems. He did so many ups and downs, and finally, years and decades after Gandhiji's death, he was, found as what do you call it, a vagabond on the footpath, and he was taken to a municipal hospital where he breathed his last, almost like a destitute. Today, every minor celebrity ensures that his son or sons get the best of everything. I'll give you a simple example. When Gandhiji started his ashram and when he was, running a school, he had his ideas. I'll come to that in a minute. And he used to try to run that ashram, the society, the community there, and the school in a particular way. The younger children who had come fresh into education under Gandhiji's tutelage took to him very nicely. They thoroughly enjoyed his methodologies because he went back almost to what we used to call as the Gurukul system. So they were very happy. They used to connect very well. But some older children who had already been through a different education system, who had their values, their ideas, their attitudes fixed up, they couldn't connect to Gandhiji. So they used to bunk classes, they used to misbehave, they used to be arrogant. Now, Gandhiji's sons were of that age. And when he put them along with these children, these vagabonds started influencing his sons. And people told him, Gandhiji, these are your own sons. Do not allow them to mingle with these fellows. They are anti-socials. Your children will get spoiled. Gandhiji said, no, how can I do that? How can I treat my sons differently from the other children of their age? They are all my children. So they will also be along with them. And what happened? They got into bad habits. And Gandhiji admitted it, that this was my mistake. I was too idealistic. I said, I'm not going to separate out my children and give them, maybe send them to some better school or somewhere outside the ashram. No. And with the result that I realized that they have lost out on what they should have been doing. These are very simple facts which lead to, as Surekha asked, what we call as emotional independence. Take a simple thing like the story you must have heard. There was this mother who brought a child to Gandhiji and said, Bapu, my child adores you. He looks up at you as the ideal role model. Anything that you say, he will listen. Now, Gandhiji, my son has started eating too much sweets. It's not good for his health. Whatever I do, however I try to stop him and tell him, he just doesn't listen to me. If you tell him once that eating too much sweets is bad, reduce your consumption of sweets, he will definitely listen to you. You know what Gandhiji is supposed to have told the mother? Yes, yes, I will definitely tell him. Get him to me after 1 month, he said. Gandhiji, 1 minute it will take you. He is there outside. I'll just call him in. You just tell him eating too much sweets is bad, Baba. Don't eat and send him off. No, no. Don't bring him inside today. Get him after 1 month, he insisted. Mother was quite puzzled and she said, what is this happening? Anyway, she couldn't do anything. She went away. A month later, the mother remembered and she brought the child and said, you remember? He said, yes, I remember. Now, will you talk to him? Definitely, I'll talk to him. He called the little fellow, put him on his lap, spoke to him very sweetly, and then said, child, eating too much sweets is bad for you. You should reduce your intake of sweets. The child looked at Gandhiji and said, yes, Babuji, if you say so, I will definitely do it. And he jumped off and ran away. Mother was very puzzled. It took you 1 minute. Couldn't you have done this last month? I think you know the story. Gandhiji said, I am also very fond of sweets. I think I eat a lot of sweets. What moral right did I have of telling this child to reduce his intake of sweets? So, you know what I did? This last 1 month, I curtailed my sweet eating. I experimented with it. I experienced what it is not to eat sweets. Now I am in a better position to tell this child that don't eat sweets too much, reduce your intake. I mean, this may sound like a parable, or this may sound like, those children's stories, but aren't they lessons to all of us? Should we not be aware of these things, that this is what makes life? That's why I'm saying that today I'm not talking about Gandhiji as the father of the nation, the person who fought for independence and who stood up to the British and all that he has done. I think all of us know it very well by now. I want you to please reflect over Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi as a human being. Gandhiji, at one time, for example, when he was a young man, got tempted. All his friends used to eat non-veg food. He was the only vegetarian among his circle of friends. And they used to laugh at him. But for a long time, he was adamant. He said, no, I'm not going to eat non-vegetarian food. One fine day, he got tempted. He couldn't resist. And he went with his friends and ate meat. He didn't like it, that's a different matter. And then he stopped. But he could have easily ignored that one incident in his life, no? He wrote about it. He said, this is what I've done. And because I think I have committed a sin, this is the penance that I have done. This is how I am punishing myself. I don't want anybody else to punish me. Similarly, okay, he has certain, thinking. For example, we all know that, in a very, very broad-minded manner, he was a staunch Hindu. He felt that love of God. He felt that connectedness to religion. So there would be occasions where he would get into arguments with people who are not Muslim. Maybe they were Christians or Muslims or whatever. Those people who are not Hindus. He got into discussions with them. Sometimes those discussions would get quite, strong, because you may have a Christian or a Muslim who has equally strong views about their religion being great. And Gandhiji felt that what he has learned about Hinduism was also something very amazing. Now, there comes this question today, as you see, any time this sort of thing happens, what is the outcome? You break out from them. You consider them enemies. You stop discussing with them. Now, history has recorded that some of his best friends were people who were not Hindus. They either belonged to other faiths, or they were other sects, or their beliefs were different. I quote one person whom I had the good fortune of meeting just before he passed away in 1975. There was this gentleman called Go Ra. He had abbreviated his name to make sure that his caste or his identity should not be by the name. As you know, the moment you say Ali Khaja, you know that this guy must be a Muslim. If I say John Peter, you say he must be a Christian. So he had cut down his name to Gora, and he was a staunch atheist. His atheist center in Vijayawada today is still attracts people from all over the world. That atheist movement that he started 80, 90 years back is still flourishing. He and his wife were absolutely 100% dedicated and committed atheists. Now, Gora goes to meet Gandhiji. What do you think will happen? They would have arguments, they would have differences, and Gandhiji would say, get out. You don't even believe in God, and you don't believe in religion, and you don't believe in spirituality. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Should have happened, no? It didn't. Gora and Gandhiji became very good friends. And Gora, much after Gandhiji's death, has written so many articles about how his discussions took place with Gandhiji, how they respected each other. Now, Gora, being a thoroughly committed atheist, still stuck around. He used to again and again go back to Gandhiji's ashram and spend days over there, and used to get involved in a lot of discussions with him, because this is one great human life skill which all of us need to earn. Yes, Sunita has put up the postal stamp which the post department had brought out on Gora after his death. This was this great man. I admire Gora as much as I admire Gandhiji, because whatever Gora did was for humanity. It was not anti-religious. It was not that he wanted to put down Hindus or Christians or Muslims. It was because of certain beliefs, certain passions, and he suffered for it. You can imagine 50, 80 years back, a man openly declaring himself to be an atheist, the type of problems that he faced in society. He stuck by his guns. And that is the reason why I'm saying that he could get along so well with Gandhiji. Do we have people like that around the place? These are the type of inspirations, as you may call it. My grandfather was a very religious person, my maternal grandfather. He used to get up in the morning and read the scriptures for 2 hours. He used to do, say his prayers regularly. He used to do all that. At the same time, one of his very close friends was Bishop John Abdus Subhan. This was a gentleman who was very friendly with my grandfather right from their youth. They used to be very good friends. His name originally was Abdul Subhan. And he and my grandfather were very good friends. They studied together, they hung around together. Somewhere along the lines, Mr. Subhan got influenced by Christianity. And slowly, slowly, he read up and he researched on Christianity and converted. After conversion, he became a pastor. He went on so deep into it that one fine day he became a bishop of the Christian community. Now, a person who has given up Islam, moved into Christianity, and has gone up to become a bishop, and his friend who continues to be a staunch Muslim, should have moved out from each other. They were such good friends. I used to sit and watch sometimes. They would be sitting. The bishop was a regular visitor to my grandfather's house. They would be sitting over a cup of tea and animatedly discussing Christianity and Islam. And after half an hour, 1 hour, they would say, "Arey yaar, enough, yaar. I can't convert you. You can't convert me. Come, let's talk something else." And that's the end of it. And these are the things which were inspired by Gandhiji. I can tell you that. There's so much to this great man that I can spend hours talking about him. And that is the reason why I want you to understand. He said that my life is my message. When people said, "What message do you have to give to humanity?" He said that my life is my message. And that's how it was. As you know, at every stage, that's what he did. One fine day, he was an avid tea drinker, for example. One fine day, he came to know that all these huge tea gardens, in different parts of the country, everywhere, in those days, I'm talking about almost 100 years back, all these tea plantations employ not only slave labor, but also child labor. And they force them to work very hard in the hot sun. Children are deprived of their upbringing, their education, that they are made to slog away in these tea estates. Now, what can Gandhiji do about it? Can he go there and do a dharna? He will be thrown out from there. Nobody will listen to him. So, you know what he did? He stopped drinking tea. Think about it. For at least one person who stops drinking tea, there will be less demand for tea, and therefore these plantation fellows will not force so many slave laborers to work. This is that drop in the ocean, as Mother Teresa used to say so. So many such, instances I can give you. Okay, let's look at the reverse side of it. Gandhiji at one point gave up drinking milk because he said that the milk is produced by the cow, the buffalo, the goat for her baby. They deserve that milk. We as human beings are stealing that milk from the animal and taking it away. We should not do it. So he would not drink milk or partake any milk products. One day Gandhiji fell sick. And he fell so sick, He wouldn't take allopathic medicine, so he used to go to the Ayurvedic doctors and those type of people, who would treat him for whatever ailments he had. At one point, his wife told him that for whatever the medical reasons, that you will have to drink some milk at least for the next few days if you hope to get well. Since you don't take this medicine and that and all that, the least you should do is to consume milk for the next few days, and then once you are okay, then you can stop. And Gandhiji agreed, and he started drinking goat's milk. Now, here again, he could have covered up. He could have given excuses. He could have said, no, no, it was to save my life, it was for this, it was for that. No. He admitted, he said that I've done something wrong. I should not be doing it. But when I realized that my health is deteriorating and I'm suffering so badly, I gave up on that principles of mine and I started drinking goat's milk. Innumerable such things, as I said, there is so much to talk about him. But one very interesting thing, if you read up his writings or go through his book, like we had, I hope I can now talk in the past tense, like we had the pandemic and its first wave and second wave, and somewhere along the line, the third wave seems to have disappeared somewhere. For months, they kept telling us third wave, third wave. I'm still waiting for that third and fourth waves to come. Anyway, the way we had this corona pandemic, exactly 100 years back, there was the Black Plague, and he was in South Africa at that time, and the plague hit South Africa very badly. Compared to this COVID, 10 times, 20 times, maybe 50 times more people died. Miserable deaths. The way Gandhiji handled it, on the one side, he was behind the municipalities of the cities where he lived in South Africa to do certain things, because the municipality was very clear: we are protecting the whites, we will not protect the browns or the blacks. They did not even come out with the minimum support or help that they should have got. And on the one side, he was fighting, he was writing articles, he was appealing, he was giving petitions. But at the same time, he would go straight into those places where the plague patients were there and help them out on a regular daily basis, risking his life. How many of us are willing to do that? If there is a pandemic or if there is a COVID, how many of us are willing to say that, okay, I will go and help these patients, or I will provide them with whatever help or support that they need? So many such things, as we keep, talking about it. These are some things which really can help us. I come back to what Surekha had asked about, that emotional independence. As I've been telling you, and we are going to have a session on it also next week, about the significance of emotional intelligence and how it has almost completely overtaken the IQ. The EQ now is 10 times more important than the IQ. And what does EQ have for the future? We'll be discussing that at length next week. But today, I just wanted to tell you, when we talk about emotional independence, it is the independence to be able to be in control of myself rather than seeking to control anybody else. I think by now all of you are aware that the only person in the whole world that you can change is your own self. That is the greatest independence that you can get, the greatest freedom from all the pressures and stresses of life. And that is what Mahatma Gandhi stood for. He said that my life is my message, my experiments with truth. Yes, he would give talks because people were crazy to listen to him. Thousands would flock whenever he's talking, but that was not his intention. When he decided that the British were not allowing people to just take salt, which is there in our own country, just pick up the salt from the seabed and use it for our this thing, and they started taxing it. Gandhiji started walking the Dandi March. He didn't go to the big cities and announced, I'm going to have a lecture on salt or something. He just started walking. So many such examples. These are the type of karma yogis, and I think one of the greatest has been Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Okay. With that, I'll take just that 1 minute break, which I think I'm entitled to, and then I'll be back with you.
Okay, apparently it was muted. So quickly, what I was saying was that, all right, I was telling you about the last dates of the DCS program. Okay, and I was telling you that just another week is left, and we have seats in the last two teams, right? The Tuesday, Thursday evening, 4:30 to 6:30 team, and the morning team, which is 10:30 to 12:30. So if you're keen, please, this is your, chance to get in touch with us. I'll tell you more. And I was also telling you about my personal takeaway, which was to be congruent. What you speak, what you think, and what you do, your action are in sync. So many, many other learnings from DCS. Call up and I'll tell you more. Over to Ali.
Thank you. And let me continue. While I keep looking at the chat box to see, other than the no audio, Seema, no audio, and good mornings, let me also hear some comments. I think this is a very significant issue. Like I said, majority of the people are just treating it as one more holiday to relax and to, you know, use some leisure activities. But I think this is one holiday which we should use to recharge our batteries, to think seriously. Using this great gentleman, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, as an example, as a role model, that what is it that we can learn? Not as a textbook. Renu says, nobody can hurt me without my permission is a very good example for emotional independence. I 100% agree with you, Renu. This is what it is all about. That nobody can hurt me. What a great message this is if you really think about it. How much sometimes we complain saying this one is bad to me, that one is hurting me, that one is putting me down. But if I can take up this very simple philosophy or mantra and say, nobody can hurt me without my permission, I do not allow you to hurt me. Because my mind is 100% under my control, no? Even at a time when Gandhiji was being harassed so badly by the British rulers, he was put in imprisonment, he was at times put in solitary confinement, there were times when he was physically beaten up. Yet, he didn't flinch this way, that way, because of this simple policy that is, nobody can hurt me emotionally or mentally without my permission. You may be great, you may be having the lathis and the guns and the jails, but that does not give you control over my mind and my heart. And I will do what I want to do. These are some of the very, very simple but very important uh, things. Even if you take those of you who are interested in children or in education, if you can take a simple example like when Gandhiji started the school in his ashram, people got textbooks and donated it. The children that are very poor, they can't afford textbooks, so they brought the textbook. You know what Gandhiji did? He said, put all the textbooks in the staff room. Let the teachers read the textbooks and come and explain to the children. If the children have to sit and open the textbooks and read it, then what are the teachers doing? Just sit, give a thought to it. Very simple, but very deep meaning to these actions which he used to do. Okay, Surekha says Gandhiji sold himself very well. He always had the press walk hand in hand with him and thus created an awareness of his strategies and philosophy. We too need to sell ourselves in ways that could be better valued. Now, if a salesman comes to you and starts talking about his product, ma'am, this thing is very good, it has got this, we are the best company in the whole world, we are giving this, it has got a guarantee, we have already sold 50,000 pieces, we are giving a discount if you pay the full price, or we are giving you installment. He goes on and on and on talking. Nobody gets taken in by him. But if that salesman is a role model, if that salesman demonstrates, if that salesman shows you certain things, you get attracted to that. And that is what we keep coming back to. One of the greatest lessons I think we can learn from Gandhiji is what I kept telling you in the first half also, that my life is my message. Don't expect me to keep giving you bhashans and sermons to help you how to lead a better life. Just follow me. I'm going on this Dundee March because I am convinced that the British have no right to put tax on salt, which is a natural product. It is available there on our seashores in our own country. We are just taking that salt and using it for cooking. And the British come all the way from Great Britain and tell us that no, you have to pay tax to us to use your own salt. No, I don't believe in it. He did not fight. He didn't create riots. He didn't go around giving lectures telling everybody that, fight against the British, don't pay the tax or something. He just got up and started walking. The coast was miles and miles away. It took him days to cover that journey till he reached the coastline, but he kept walking. And people followed him. I don't remember the exact figure, but the number of people that followed him, if I'm not mistaken, is not even 100. 10, 20, 50, 70. Sometimes from some village, another 50 people would start, walk a few miles, then get tired and come back to their village. Like that, it went on. Now, what do you think will be achieved by a person who is going on walking towards the sea coast to go there and pull out the salt? And he has got this 20, 50, 80 people following him. But today we know the significance of that, right? We know what it has achieved. Every time that we do something like this, we achieve something. And if I have 50 followers, Gandhiji had 50 crore followers. If I have 50 followers, and if I do something, actually demonstrate and do something which touches their hearts, and they start thinking in that direction, I have achieved what I wanted to. And that is the reason why Gandhiji could turn a whole nation around, including, don't forget the fact that we finally did not pick up guns and fought against the British. Somewhere along the line, the British got convinced that yes, there's no point in hanging around here and we should allow these people independence and we should go away from here. Honorably, they handed over the independence to us, right? In fact, it was initially decided that June 1948 would be the transfer of power. When the last Viceroy Mountbatten came in, he said, why wait till next year? Come on now, 15th of August, we'll give you independence and I'll go. And even after independence was handed over on 15th of August, the Viceroy, Mountbatten, did not have to run away. You are not chased or ridiculed that you are from the colonial powers. He continued for another year as the Governor General of India. We gave him that type of respect. See how this transition took place. Other than the miserable and horrible violence of the partition, everything else happened so beautifully. Archana says it is very difficult to walk the talk and accept that we have failed or done a mistake. As Gandhiji said, my life is my message, we can learn from. That's what I'm saying. His book is full of the experiments that he did. A few talk about how he succeeded. A lot of his incidents and anecdotes talk about how he failed, how he regretted doing something, how he realized that this is not what I should have been doing. This is not the correct way of dealing with these situations. So many of his, questions and doubts are put down, and the reader is asked to form his or her own judgment. Yes, Sriram, your emotions are a direct creation of your thoughts. You can either own your freedom or create a prison of your own making. Wow, I'm really touched by your words. And more so in the context of the fact that Gandhiji spent years and years, I don't know how many times he was imprisoned. Every time he would come out, within a few months, he'll be back in prison. The British had so many things against him. Gandhiji didn't give only lectures. He followed practically what he used to advise people. Words are hollow without actions. Rifat, you are absolutely right. I feel that each one of us should be going through. And yes, Yasmin says, thank you for explaining history so beautifully. So much to learn even through history. Everything about life is to be learned through history, Yasmin. And unfortunately, the way history is taught in our schools and our system, majority of the children hate history. They force themselves to mug up certain things and just put it down on paper so that they can get marks. Whereas I personally feel nothing like history. And if history can include, instead of telling which war took place when and which dynasty took over and how many years they ruled and how they conquered this one and whatever happened, instead of all that nonsense, if history can tell us about, let's say, somebody like Gandhiji, without putting him on a pedestal, mind you, I don't know how effective and acceptable it will be, because there will be a lot of people who will say, "How dare you talk about the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, in such critical ways?" But unless you criticize, you don't learn. You have to see the practical aspects of it. One very wonderful thing, one person who really, I think, did wonders to the country as a whole and specifically to Gandhiji's memory and his teaching is the producer of the movie Lage Raho Munna Bhai, our great Sanjay Dutt played such a wonderful role, isn't it? They brought in Gandhiji in a very subtle way in that movie. People who watched that movie looked at it more like something humorous, something to entertaining. But let me tell you, if you have not seen that movie, or whether you even if you have seen it, go back to it once more now after all this discussion that we are having today. A simple thing like that. Many of us I know are not very avid readers. So if I tell you, read my the story of my experiments with truth, it is only 463 pages. I don't know how many people will even open this book and read 4 pages out of the 463. Doesn't matter. If you're not the reader type, at least look into these areas by which we learn. Renu says, unfortunately, history has been changed according to the convenience these days and tragedy of our future. Yes, we are doing a great disservice to the coming generations by twisting, turning, sometimes idolizing some people and putting them on a pedestal, sometimes, condemning people. No human beings are like that. The world is not full of heroes and villains. The world is full of people who look at both sides of the picture. Yes, Sridevi, Gandhi Giri is what I am talking now. And I am amazed that your son is reading it. I am so happy that children are reading these things. Ifat, of course, is an avid reader. I know she has done her PhD and all that, so she's uh, intellectual. I wish there were more people like here. Sonia says, I will read it now. Next book on the line. That's the inspiration. I think I have contributed my might. If five of you at the end of this actually get the book and read it at your leisure, at your convenience, it's a very reasonably priced book, as I told you. Get it and keep it with you. Read it at your convenience, at your leisure. Read it in between. Open to page number 100 or page number 250 and start reading it, and then go back to it. That's how you can do it. Okay. One more thing I was just wanted to tell you before the time runs out. We were having animated discussion last few days among our, the Banjara family, about what to project. Because, like I told you, the first thought that struck me is, will people even log in to listen to this program? Because it's not directly affecting how to build assertiveness or how to manage your anger or how to take care of toxic relationships. That we think affects us directly. But when I say listen to what Gandhiji did, it sounds too theoretical, right? So I wasn't sure. So what we did was, we did a little bit of experimentation and exploration. And we said, come on, let us take this, cue from what Sanjay Dutt does in the Lage Raho Munna Bhai Gandhigiri concept, and let us connect that to what is affecting us in the real life. So we selected a few clips, and we bring it here for you to show you and to give you some quick narration or update on that as to why and how these were selected and what do they mean to us in our personal life. Thanks to Sunita's exploration, here you have.
क्या करूं बापू?
मैं जो कहता हूँ वो करोगे तो जानवी पर लकी की बात का कोई असर नहीं होगा।
तो जल्दी बोलो ना बापू।
लकी जानवी को सच बताए उससे पहले तुम उसे सच बता देना।
क्या बापू, अभी बॉलिंग कोई भी डालेगा, विकेट तो अपन का ही गिरेगा ना, छोड़ की जाएगी अपन को।
पर तुम लीडर
This is what we normally think, isn't it?
संघर्ष करते रहना और देखना एक दिन वो वापस आएगी।
So that is about Munna Bhai. So I would just like to draw your attention to this whole scene and quickly tell you what basically this whole scene means. Is that the hero is in love with the heroine, and he actually is like a goon who takes money and beats up people or things, does like that. Outsourcing of violence is happening in that. And what happens is that he portrays a good picture to his lady love, and he is influenced by Bapu's readings and writings, and so Bapu keeps coming and helping him out, doling him out of all the difficulties that he's facing. And that's when he's telling Bapu that if I tell her that I am doing this kind of, I'm an extortionist and I beat up people, she will leave me and go. And Bapu gives his own example. Now I was a little intrigued by that statement when the hero is asking, so your father would have beaten you to pulp, which means that is such a accepted behavior by all of us, that if somebody commits a mistake, we have to criticize them, we have to speak to them in a condescending way, and we have to actually possibly make comments on them and tell them that they are no good or something like that. Whereas Bapu says that no, he did not do anything like that. I think that's a very important statement for us to understand, that many a times when people do mistakes, we want to be that holier than thou. No, you want to tell them that, hey, you are that bad one, and I'm the one who is the good one over here. And I want to point out that you have done something which is absolutely not acceptable by me and by society and things like that. And that's where Bapu says, no, he did not. I realized that especially when my dad never told me a single word I realized that no, this is not something which is a virtue of being which I have followed, and hence I kept crying. Right. So basically, I thought that, if you can also share your thoughts about what has happened through this whole talk today. And yes, Lagero Munnabai is an extraordinary movie with much deeper meaning. Must watch, innocent, interesting, and thoughtful. Absolutely, yes. And in fact, basically, what has happened is that in this case, Gandhiji's significant adults, they accepted him as is where is. So beyond going just what the political levels and the leadership with Gandhiji basically displayed, if you can just kind of dissect this whole scene, brainstorm a little and check that the whatever that he was also was because his significant adults in his family accepted him as is where is. So the mistake was not magnified, whereas it was diffused to such an extent that he himself realized that this is something which is not a very happening behavior. And also, as we keep telling that, truth, which is the quality of being morally good, it's a virtue of being something which you display to the other person, and later on you basically, your character develops because of that particular grain in your quality that you have. And I think when Ali was mentioning, I'll just recall back and forth when Ali was mentioning about Gora, who was an atheist, and his stint knowing Gandhiji. I think one of the beautiful messages which comes out of this is the interpersonal relationships, right? Accepting people of from all strata of the society, all life cycles of the society. Yes, that is it. Thank you, Sunita. So basically, two people who have diverse thinkings, but still, is it not possible to have a community living and a harmonious living? So you argue, and then you say, "Are chal bhai, abhi thak gaya main. Come, let's go have a cup of tea, and let's just catch up with a short walk." So I think it shows tremendously of the interpersonal relationships that Gandhiji has displayed to us. Again, apart from being a leader, a person politically driving the whole country, and with his courage of conviction and gumption that Gandhiji had, that also shows off the acceptance of each other. You have a different thought process, I have a different thought process, but I don't think that actually means anything to us when we come to each other at a emotional level. So that, I think, also is a message that when we were all sitting and mulling over this whole thing, that hey, how is this Munna Bhai MBBS, which was just mentioned by Ifat, that in such a simple manner has been communicated, right? Any other thoughts which anyone would like to share? We are more than happy to receive them. And continuing, so I'll wait for that while it comes up, and continuing with it, I think it also shows which I think I was listening, and Ali, I would just also want to continue with the thing that accepting your own mistakes, I think that shows so much of a self awareness, right? That hey, I think I thought this, but I felt this, but I did something else. My action were not in line with my feelings and my thoughts. That brings into so much of a self awareness. And if we are even to some extent reasonably self aware about our own thoughts, our own feelings, that I also remember what Seema mentioned, congruence. Am I in a straight line with my thoughts, with my feelings, with my actions, with my words? If I'm in a straight line with all these things, um, again, I heard there was a very good comment which mentioned that it is difficult to walk the talk. But then if we take, pick up pages and lessons from people who have been such a contributing factor for our, marvelous country, India. I think we have role models with us. We have people who have inspired us so well that we can learn from them, how to walk the talk and talk the talk, as is the most popular phrase. It leaves us with no ambiguity in our mind, because you become that person who is self-aware, who knows himself inside out, because you are with you 24 bar 7. Moving on, it also takes you to the next level of interpersonal relationships, accepting people from all walks, all cultures, all societies, all ages. When Gandhiji, for that young small lad who was, like just 6 7 years of age, and just for his sake, he decided that no, I'm going to check whether I can control my eating of sweets. And if I can't do that, I don't have a right, even if he's just a child whom I can make sit on my lap, I'm not going to be telling something which is not the truth, and which is not a role modeling from myself, because this person is inspired by me. And if this person is inspired by me, there is a responsibility on my shoulder, the responsibility to be walking the talk and talking the talk. Yes, Sunita has also put up that in case you need to know anything, about free counseling, about career counseling, and anything else, please feel free to, call us up at Banjara. And also, I think possibly another lesson which I take up from this is that you stand up for what you believe in. You stand up high, you walk tall when you believe in something which you feel is, totally close to your heart. And when that happens, people recognize you with that quality in you, with that trait in you, and they recognize you with that reliability in you, right? And when they know that you are a person who are a very reliable person, truthful person, and you have the virtue which makes me depend on you, which makes me believe in you, that is, something which I think our next generation also, we have to be role model for our next generation, possibly in some little ways that, Gandhiji has given to us in this fabulous country of India. Maybe we can give it to our coming generations, the youngsters, and for whom the world is going to be a platform. And if we can leave them with this, marvelous morals and values, upbringing, habits, I think they can really go ahead and, conquer so many different victories in their emotional life that they are set out for our, next generation. Of course, yes. Also, talking of patience, what we, at Banjara, basically, when when that Sanjay Dutt says that, shall I tell her off, he says you must. And that is also to a very great extent, I think I can tell you very happily, we practice at Banjara. Whenever we have counseling sessions, we kind of, try to tell our counselees that it's always a very good idea to tell the truth and be done with it, so that it also gears you up to face the consequences. Just to give you a simple example, I think it will strike a chord with you. We do have, parents who may end up telling that, no, 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 I'm going to tell my child that this is a center where they will tell you that you can take up engineering, how to take up engineering, something like that, But then we, all our counselors always make it a point to tell them, hey, tell him the truth, because that one truth is going to help him to believe in you. Tell him, yes, you know what, beta, I know that I'm going through some things, and possibly I may not be really reaching out to you well, and these people are helping me out, but I want you also to give your opinion, so that we both are on a fair ground. And as Bapu tells Sanjay Dutt, the hero, that tell the truth. At the most, what will happen? You know that, the consequences are going to be dire. Ready yourself for the consequences. and let truth prevail. Let our each one's life be a message for us. Jai Hind.